At just 24 years old, he became a general in one of the most powerful armies in Europe. Yet this same man was once a lonely boy, mocked for his accent, and treated like he didn't belong. This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte. He was born in 1769 on a small island called Corsica, far from power and far from opportunity, into a family that wasn't rich. His mother was strict and strong, raising him with discipline and teaching him that life requires effort and toughness. As a child, Napoleon was quiet and serious. While others played, he preferred reading, books about war, great leaders, and history, already thinking beyond his small environment. At just 9 years old, his life changed completely when he left his home and moved to France to study in a military school. There, he faced rejection. He spoke with a strong Corsican accent, and other students laughed at him and treated him like an outsider. Instead of giving up, he focused even more, studying harder than everyone else and becoming especially strong in mathematics, slowly building a quiet but powerful confidence and realizing that being different could actually be an advantage. By the age of 16, he joined the army, and soon after, France entered a period of chaos known as the French Revolution, where people were angry, poor, and desperate, while the rich lived in luxury. In this unstable environment, Napoleon saw opportunity. He acted quickly, made bold decisions, and proved himself in battle after battle until people began to notice him. And at just 24 years old, he became a general. But for Napoleon, that was only the beginning. He continued winning campaigns in places like Italy and Egypt, gaining fame and trust, and in 1799, he made a decisive move by taking control of France through strategy rather than waiting for
power. Then, in 1804, during a grand ceremony in Paris, he did something shocking. He took the crown and placed it on his own head, crowning himself emperor and showing that he would define his own destiny. At his peak, he controlled much of Europe, changing laws, building systems, and bringing order to a continent in chaos. But he was never satisfied and always wanted more. In 1812, he made his greatest mistake by invading Russia with more than 600,000 soldiers, the largest army Europe had ever seen. But the Russians avoided direct battle, retreating and destroying their own resources, leaving nothing behind. Napoleon reached Moscow only to find it empty, and then the brutal winter arrived. Freezing cold, no food, no shelter, causing his army to collapse, with soldiers dying from hunger and cold rather than combat, forcing him to retreat and lose most of his forces. After that, his power began to fall as his enemies united against him. Despite fighting back, he was weaker, and in 1814 he lost control and was exiled to an island. However, he escaped and returned to France, and for a brief moment it seemed like he might rise again. But in 1815, at the Battle of Waterloo, he lost his final fight, this time for good. He was sent to a remote island, where he lived in isolation until his death in 1821 at the age of 51. From a poor boy to a young general to an emperor controlling Europe, and finally to losing everything, his life was extreme in every way. He wasn't perfect, he made major mistakes and caused suffering, but one thing stands out: he never accepted limits. Even when he was rejected, different, and underestimated, he continued to work, learn, and believe in himself. And maybe you feel that way sometimes too, like you don't belong or things are difficult. But the fact that you are learning and improving means you are moving forward, step by step, and that's what matters, because every small progress is part of a bigger journey.